Whoever sees this and subscribes right now will get a free Happy Meal. This video is sponsored by Burger King. What's going on, YouTube? It's Knox Hill, and we're back. Well, kind of with our reaction series. You guys know every once in a while I like to do this where I just talk to you about whatever's on my mind, whatever issues I feel are important, and especially after last weekend's video and how that went. I had a lot of you reach out to me, how much you appreciated my words on social media, the effects that it can have. And I just thought it would be good if I took a moment to talk a little bit about anxiety and mental health, because honestly, it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about giving more of a platform to. I feel like especially in today's world with all of the pressures and the added pressures of online, it makes it really hard for people to disconnect. And also, it's a lot easier for things to get to you. I mean, whoever said that words can never hurt you was just an utter, total, and complete lie. I mean, nothing can hurt worse than the right place words sometime. And honestly, I know that I'm growing, and some of you might look at me and go, oh, but Knox, you're a big time, YouTube star now and on the road to 500,000. And what do you have to worry about? And I mean, just to be honest with you guys, I feel like the more that I grow, the more pressure and stress that I feel, ironically, because I have an even bigger following now. It's like I'm put under the microscope so much more. And it is true. The more successful you become, the more that people are looking for reasons and excuses to knock you down. I mean, look at Shaq when he hit 3 million. You had all these exposed Shaq videos and all these people trying to throw shade and knock him down a few pegs. And I think a lot of that too stems from just insecurities. Like, people like to project their insecurities on others. It's kind of a control thing. When you're less in control of your own life, you have to find a way to see some sort of control. So by belittling others or knocking others down online, especially in the YouTube sphere where comments and social media where you're not held as accountable, it's a lot easier to go after a public figure when you're not a public figure yourself, and to try to just have a little bit of that control. So I always take those things with a grain of salt, because again, you never know what someone else is going through. And I think that's the biggest thing with mental health, is that it can silently creep up on you, and it can hit you when you are least prepared and least expecting it. And you never know what turn life is going to give you. And as I grow here on social media, there's definitely an anxiety that what if things do go wrong? My family is now relying on me. I'm using this as a platform to help provide for my family, to help be a father, to take care of my kids with. What if something does happen? And then obviously with the videos, you feel more pressure. Like you have to be on point with every video. I don't have good days each and every day, but when this camera goes on, I have to be a certain personality, and I have to be a certain way and on for you guys. And the second that I say anything that could be slightly off or I miss something, like, comment section is so quick to point it out. I don't think people truly appreciate the pressure that you have to maintain as you continue to grow. But it's okay. Everything comes with good and bad, and everything comes with balance. And I think that's the most important thing that we can learn and take from any part of our lives. It's all about balance. And whereas we see so much information on your health in terms of going out and exercising and all these people working out and these fitness influencers at the gym. And yes, that's incredibly important. And then we see like diet influencers, and you see people talking about, you are what you eat. But I feel like what gets undervalued a lot of times is taking care of your mind, taking care of your mental, setting aside time for mindfulness, whether that's meditation, whether that's time just to be alone, be out in the world, to reflect, to add that balance, to think about yourself, or have time to read or to catch up on and invest in you. Because the mind is like any other body part. It's like a muscle, essentially. You have to train it. You have to work on it. You have to give it attention. You have to feed it the right things. And you are what you consume in your mind. You are, and you slowly become all the thoughts that you think about. So I feel like a lot of us spend a lot of time focusing on exercise and on a lot of other things in our lives. But what we don't do is we don't spend enough time investing in our headspace. And the way society operates today doesn't help either. Like, it's so simple and so easy nowadays. If you have a mental health issue, just be given medication. It's like, there's your solution. Go take medication. Go take something for it. It's not a wholesome approach. Well, yes, you can take some medication, but here's a rounded approach. Here's some tips for helping you strengthen your mind, for helping to let things go, for helping to deal with anxiety. Here's some breathing tricks you can use. Here's some things you can do daily to help to gradually build yourself up and get yourself right psychologically. It's all just so instant gratification, isn't it? Medication done, medication onwards. And I think all of us can take to heart that no matter how busy we get, if you don't invest in yourself, eventually when something does go wrong, you find it's much easier to crumble. And on the flip side of that too, there's also the stigma that when someone has a mental health problem, when someone is suffering from anxiety or, they dive down into depression, they get seen as weak. They get seen as it's a character flaw. But even the strongest person in the world mentally can still crumble. It's like piling weights on someone, Different people have different thresholds for how much they can take, but any person, no matter who they are, if you stack enough weights on them, enough pressure points, enough stresses, enough things that go wrong in life, you can make anyone fall down. And sometimes timing is so important too. Sometimes people are in just the right state of mind for dealing with a situation. Other times it might not be good timing. And then that leads to a downward spiral. And me personally, I had that. I went through a stage of incredible anxiety, of just a very deep darkness. I mean, simple acts like getting out of bed every day was so hard. It was such a battle and such a struggle just to get out and brush my teeth in the morning. Convincing myself to eat, you fought psychologically and it was such a struggle. And by the time you just did that and accomplished one single thing, you were done for the rest of the day. But the thing is, you're so tired and yet you can't sleep. And then eventually when you do sleep, you just wake up so suddenly. And I just remember like leaping out of bed in such a state of anxiety every day. And every single task was just so hard and took such a struggle. And that's the thing is you don't always appreciate what someone else is going through. We don't know because it is a silent destroyer, really. It can just creep up on people. You might look at someone that might be smiling on the outside, but you don't actually know the battles that are going on inside. And that's why I always talk about opinions and talk about being mindful of your neighbors and being mindful of people that you speak to, because you never know the demons and the conflict and what they have to deal with, within here. And for me, overcoming that situation was a process. It was a very slow process with taking 6 steps back every time I would take 2 steps forward. And I just felt so isolated, and I didn't want to tell my family. I didn't want to tell my friends. I didn't want to tell people what I was going through because I didn't want to place that burden on them. And ironically, those are the people in those situations who can help, who can empathize, who can work with you, who will not judge you, who will find ways to be there. And I think, honestly, a lot of us, it's so easy to feel alone, ironically, in a world that's so connected. But if we are willing to ask for help, I think we'd be surprised at who's willing to give it. Because there are a lot of people who have been through these issues, who have been through these things, who want to help and guide and be there for others, and who can relate to those situations. And that's why I make a lot of music talking about mental health. And that's why it's something I will always give a platform to, because I think it's so important that we appreciate what it truly is, and that we appreciate and find ways to empathize with people, even with strangers that we don't know, really trying to put ourselves in their shoes and understand the different things that they're going through. And the most important takeaway, which is why I sign off with it on my live streams, which is why I make music about it, is that, no matter your position in this world, life does suck. Life will kick you when it's down, and life will not be fair. And it's in those moments when you're just totally wrapped in that darkness and in that hole, when you be surprised at the lights that you do end up seeing, the people who are there for you, if you can find a way to let them be there. And in terms of overcoming things and coming through it, I mean, I'm grateful and thankful to say that I did make it out of that hole. And there were some messed up thoughts, and there were times when I thought, this is it. This is going to be the end, really. But it's the small steps, I think. It's doing the things when you're screaming and everything is screaming not to do it, not to allow yourself to do anything. But you just start accomplishing little basic things, making lists, reading positive things, enforcing that. Even though you don't feel it at the time, looking in the mirror and telling yourself a lie that things will be better because you say it out loud enough. I'm a huge believer, and you are kind of what you manifest, what you put out to the world is what the world a lot of times in karma will give back to you. And you find that over time, which is one of the greatest destroyers, but also one of the greatest healers, is time. It can help you cope. And you take a little step this day, a little step the next day, a little step that day. And you'll find many days from now, you'd be amazed at how far you've come mentally and how much further you can go. And we're also so much stronger than each and every one of us think. You know, you are not the words that people say to you, and you are not always the thoughts that you think yourself. We all are made of some very unique and very strong substance and character, and sometimes it takes a lot of digging to find it. But if we can find that self-belief and that hope, I really feel like it can help us better our lives. So yeah, that's kind of my little weekend talk and weekend rant for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy the little talks that we have, and I hope it does help someone out there. But as always, listen, stay safe, stay positive, take care of yourselves. I love you guys, and I'll catch you again. I'm out.